Welcome to the Fuel Only Podcast. My name is Shane Dunnigan here with the great Joey Glover. Joey, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. It's good to have you back. It's been too long. I think you spent 2, 3, 4 weeks outside the States. So I don't know what you do for work that allows you to do that, but
Not long enough, Joe. It's never long enough.
I know, right? Right.
Happy March Madness. Sorry to hear about your Tar Heels.
Yeah, we had to start with that. Yeah, that sucked. But
yeah.
can't win them all.
I was texting you last night and you're like, I'm not gonna watch, I'm watching the A's. And then
which isn't any better.
And then you flipped it on. And yeah.
Yeah, that was not fun. And I was watching the A's get beat, it was 8-0. So it's a tough day for sports.
Yeah, not the best. Not the best Thursday night, Joe. But here we are.
Here we are. It's good to have you back.
Back in the saddle, baby. Back in the saddle.
Yeah.
What were you sending me earlier? I like your hat, by the way. What were you sending me earlier? The Larson hat?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I had to, I don't think I'm giving up on Chase Elliott hats, and I'm not giving up on him. I think I'm just going to be more of a Hendrick guy. As you get older, like my father-in-law, he was always a Giants fan. And, as he's gotten older, I like the A's and the Giants. I said, no, you like one or the other. He goes, nah, I root for both. I watch them both. And I'm like, he goes, no, as you get older, that's just how it is. And I said, I guess that's how it is with me with Hendrick now. It's like, you know what? And it's not because Chase just completely sucks, but yeah, no, Kyle Larson is releasing, like, this last week was 100, and then this week it says less than 100. I don't know what that means. Hats every week, and like he was wearing it, and I thought, God, I got to have one of those. And I went on, you couldn't find them, and I was just scrolling eBay right now,
yeah,
and I type in Hendrick stuff, and I type in this and that, and there's a hat on there, and it's up to like 6 or 7 bids, and it's $195 right now.
Crazy.
For a hat, one of 100. And it's like, you joke, should I buy it? And it's like, man, it'd be nice to have, but like $200 for a hat, come on.
No, it's crazy. I have a Larson hat. I don't think I've worn it yet. Maybe I wore it once on the pod, but I think I spent $40 on it. Yeah. And I remember he won a race last year, and it's not the same as my hat. So I was looking for it online and I couldn't find it. And I was like, man, they're smart to do that, internal release. And then everybody wants it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Mr. H. I mean, Hendrick has the one and only one of one, the gray with the, the Hendrick H. And it's like, I've given up now, obviously, when it first, I looked for it and it was like, no, that's his. And then I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Next season, maybe. Nope, still not out. It's his. It's only going to be his. And I'm like, wow, that'd be a nice hat to have.
Just like our fuel only gear, Joey, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Limited release.
Limited release. I hear you. We need to get you a couple more. But you don't want to wear the same shirt every day.
I'm repping my 5 shirt today, Joe.
I know. I see that. It's not.
Yeah,
it's okay to hide it a little bit. He was pretty bad. He was pretty bad at COTA.
I didn't think he was that bad.
No, I'm kidding. It was Bell.
I wasn't able to watch the race, so I gave you crap last week. But I wasn't able to watch it, and then
I forgot.
So I was on the plane. The plane took off from where I was back to the States, and the race had just started, and I was pissed off. But I was able to get Wi-Fi just for a little bit at the end of the flight, and so I was able to watch like maybe the last 10 laps of COTA, and it was just a tease, Joe. It was just a tease.
It was a fun, because Bell, if he had a couple more laps, I mean, Bell was going to catch Byron. But I mean, is that Jeff Gordon Jr.? I mean, dude, we'll get into it obviously, but that was pure domination. I mean, it was crazy to see the 24 car on a road course just doing what he was doing. But
when we were texting earlier in the week about Byron getting the pole, we go, oh, okay, Byron will get the pole, but he'll get caught by one of the road course guys.
Yeah, no, and we said, like, it's like, we should have thrown some money on him. And I literally, I think word for word, I said we should throw money on him, but it's just not his thing. It's not, you got Reddick starting right there. Gibbs was right there. And it's like, no, they're going to outdrive him. It doesn't matter if he's got the fastest car. Like, it's like Chase Elliott 3, 4, or 5 years ago, whatever. Like, you knew he was going to do it. It didn't matter.
If he starts fifth or 10th or whatever, he's driving through the field, right?
Yeah, and it was just like Byron dominated, and you didn't miss much until, there was some stuff. I mean, Larson got taken out. Chase got the penalty, and I don't know, they finished 17th, 16th, 15th, or whatever it was, and it was just, that was it. It was over, which makes it not as enjoyable, but it was good that up at the front there was no cautions. We'll get into that, which is unreal. So,
but I'm glad they brought the stage break cautions back.
They had to,
because if you're not gonna call every time a car spins, if you're not gonna throw a yellow, then there's gonna be no cautions, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's I think they did right with stages. Speaking of Richmond coming up, I was just watching the '08, and Denny Hamlin led 381 laps, and there's no stage breaks, none of that. So we'll get into that because I wanted to talk about rewatching that. But it was it's been weird not having you, being able to send a text to you and this or that, but no, it's good to have you back. And
good to be back, Joe. Speaking of stage breaks, though, I was listening to, God, I'll have to remember it. I'll look it up for stage one, but it was an old time NASCAR guy, and he was saying that he thinks stage points are the most ridiculous thing in the world. He said, "Why should a driver get points if they don't win the race?" And obviously NASCAR has playoffs to push, and they need viewership, and they want people to care about the round of 16 and everything like that.
Yeah.
But it is a great point. Just because you won stage one or you were top 10 in stage one has nothing to do with the race. I mean, it does, but
it just means it's a strategy thing. So it makes you, are you going to give up your spot? Are you going to give up your track position to get those points? I get it. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And I've said that from the beginning, is towards the, the final race, 4 guys, 1 spot, whoever finishes the best. I don't know. It's weird.
But look at COTA last week. Like stage 1, all the drivers who want to win the race pit. Christopher Bell stays out with.
He stayed out, which was unreal.
Which was a weird strategy. And then he stayed out, and who else stayed out? McDowell stayed out.
Gibbs and McDowell.
And Suarez. I think Suarez stayed out too.
Yes.
Because they all wanted. Oh, and Dylan. I think Dylan needed some stage points too.
Yeah, something like that. But
it's weird. Like you just screwed yourself to win the race, pretty much. Like, I think if Bell would have stayed in the pack, he had the fastest car.
Yeah, he would have caught Byron in the end, I think. If he would have. But it still kind of worked out. He was second. So, I mean, it worked out, and he got those stage points for finishing first. So,
but shouldn't the point of the race, he got the playoff point for winning the stage.
Yes, exactly.
But shouldn't the point of the race be to win?
Yeah. Exactly. It's almost like there's 3-4 winners. You know what I mean? 3 winners. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, the winning race. And it does, I guess I've never really looked at it like that. It's just part of, but they have to give you something for leading at the end of the stage. They have to give you something, because nobody would want to win the stage. They'd be like, no, I'm pitting. So they have to make it.
Yeah, they have to incentivize.
Yeah, now that I think about it, it makes sense what he's saying. Whoever it was, we'll have to look that up. But
I'll look it up on when we cut for break.
It just, you have to get something for it, because it wouldn't make sense. You may as well just 50 laps in, throw a caution. All right, who wants to pit? Who doesn't? And then, all right, at 150, let's throw like the competition cautions. You know what I mean? Like, so it makes. I mean, I think it's interesting because it's like, who is going to pit here? It was easy.
Yeah.
We didn't even get into the Xfinity race. We could get into that real quick because I wanted to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk Xfinity race. I wasn't able to watch that one.
So my 2 cents on the Xfinity race is, you're racing with, the top 5, I think, starting was like just loaded. Ding, Larson,
SVG.
It's kind of not fair to these Xfinity guys, because those points for the stages, but the Cup guys don't care. They don't get points anyways. So what does it matter? They're pitting, they're giving up their spot because they're going to start back up in the front. Now these guys are like, well, I guess screw the points too. We have to stick with Larson and SVG and Gibbs, and you know what I mean? So it was, it's kind of a disadvantage. You're already having to race the top guys on Sunday, and then you're not getting points because you're like, well, shit, I know I have to come in or I'm not going to win the race. You know what I mean? So you give yourself a chance. And it was like, it was like, damn. And the Dinger, SVG, they were up there the whole race. I mean, the Dinger dominated until the end. SVG was dominating until the end. And then Hill gives him a little bumper into turn one and then throws a hissy fit. Dude, he's gotten ripped on
Yeah,
X.
Hill's making a name for himself like in the wrong way, I think.
Yeah. You were like, dude, you can't expect to, sure, you didn't do much, but you bumpered him. He dominated the whole race. And then you get up there and then you kind of just ruin it for him by bumping him and he gives it back to you. And I mean, come on, that's racing. And SVG actually watched an interview yesterday. He was on, he might have been on the Dirty Mo Entertainment podcast. And he said he's just not used to, that was the first time he's ever wrecked someone, not really wrecked, but put a bumper to someone because in Australia, it's a penalty. He said that Hill, for hitting him going into a corner like that, would have gotten like a 15-second penalty.
Yeah.
He's never had to do it. So he said I don't know if it was a spotter or crew chief was in his ear, put your bumper to him. You're hitting him. And he's like he started getting anxiety. Like, was it hit him? And they were like, no.
Because you look at those other cars that he raced, like they're not stock cars,
No,
they're like Porsches and like Ferraris and like they're real like sports cars.
Yeah. So it was funny to hear him be like, okay, like his spotter and his crew chief are the ones pissed off. He's frustrated, but he's like, damn. And then they're like, all right, get him back. And he's like, what? That's a penalty. You know what I mean? It used to be a penalty. So,
and he handed the race to the 5 car. I mean, the 17, but
sorry. Yeah. Yep. First time since, for the 17 car in HendrickCars.com. So
Ricky Jr.
Ricky. Yeah. So, fresh tires for Larson. He just sits back and
lets it unfold. Yeah. I mean, so when we were talking about that Xfinity race, just really quick, we were like, oh yeah, Larson and Gibbs are going to be up there, and the Dinger and SVG, and then Larson and Gibbs start in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And Gibbs flies through the field.
He was unreal.
Yeah,
he was making Larson look slow.
And then, obviously the way the race played out, it was good for Larson to get a win. I told you that the pressure would be off him for Sunday. I'm like, all right, he got one win this weekend. Like, he's good.
Yeah, right.
And he was, we'll get into COTA in a minute, but yeah, he was moving through the field a little bit.
But it was a good 2 races. I enjoyed it. You were on the beach somewhere sipping a pina colada with Kenny Chesney or something. I don't know.
There was some Kenny played this weekend.
No shoes, no.
Yeah, no problems.
Oh man! All right, let's get into it.
All right, let's get on to stage 1. Next, stage 1, COTA, our first road course race of the year, Joe. It's in the books.
It is, and
your new guy, 24, the 24 car,
the 24, the old new guy, Jeff Gordon Jr., I guess. But yeah, when we get the road course, I always, since when Chase was coming up, when he started in the 24 and then he went into the 9, it was like, it's a road course. It's Chase's week. This is where I get to, have some fun and sit back, and it's just not the same anymore. It's so, what's the word? It's just so competitive. I was going to use something else, but it's so competitive. It's unfreaking real. I mean, he ran a hell of a race. I mean, I think he was running 5th when
most of the race he was running 5th when I watched it back.
Yeah, and then he gets the penalty, which he got loose. He kind of saved his car, which it is what it is. It's the rule. It is what it is. But it's hard that it's not like, here's a road course. All right, Chase, let's do it. You
go get him.
Exactly. It's not, because look, I mean, we talked about it last week. Reddick, Gibbs, all the guys that were going to be up there, the Dinger and stuff like that, and it's a guy we didn't even mention. And it's nothing against William Byron. It's just crazy how NASCAR has just become so different with this car.
And not to mention Suarez and McDowell have won races. Cindric had a good car. And like we said, I think we can talk about Byron in a second, but Ty Gibbs is coming.
Oh, he's coming. I mean, he's ready to say I'm here. And I mean, he's here. I mean, it's been a couple races this year, more than a couple, and he's just there every single time. He's got the car figured out. The team's got it figured out. It's just a matter of time. It's like throw money on him every week, because
his win is coming. He was fast in LA when I went to the race. He was fast at Phoenix until his car fell off.
He's been fast everywhere.
He's been fast everywhere.
Every race.
Every not long track. I think he needs a little work at the speedways, but Ty Gibbs is coming, and he's a piece of work, Joe. He's a little firecracker.
No, it's crazy. No, he's coming, and he's a little hothead, and that's fine. I mean,
he's young.
We didn't even talk about that. He came back and hit. Who did he hit in the dinger under caution? He hit the dinger under caution because he was pissed off that SVG sent him out wide, and SVG made a hell of a move to push them all out, and he ran off the racetrack, and the dinger had nowhere to go, and he comes back and hits him under caution, and it's like, come on, that's the thing where you're going to turn into a young Kyle Busch or one of those guys that you're just going to be hated for things that you can control.
Yeah. We were kind of high on Reddick, and he didn't have the car. He didn't have the car, or I don't know.
Something.
I expected him to drive to the front, and I think Boyer said that on the broadcast. He goes, I'm ready for that 45 car to fly up to the front, and he never did.
No, it wasn't. He didn't have his usual, and that's what I'm saying. Is it the car? Is it just it makes it that much more even, or it's that much harder? I mean, Chase touched into it. Might have been in pre-race. I think he was on in pre-race when I had it on, and he said that the hardest part that he's had to adjust with is what made him so good in the old car was his braking ability and him and using the brake to in the corners or this or that. He said the biggest difference in this car is the braking. The brakes are not the same. They're harder. And he obviously mastered the brakes in the last one. And then they change it. And now, guys are still, I guess it's not as easy. And, especially, so I have a quick question real quick. Are you a fan of, I was kind of rewatching, what did I send you? I think I sent you the Glen. And, dude, these penalties for cutting corners on when you're racing, you're kind of too wide, or you're going around corners and your tires this far in, and it's like, oh, pass through. And I'm not saying it takes away from racing, but it's kind of giving these guys a shit. Like, we have to, I get if you cut the corner. I mean, if it's a turn and you cut the corner through, come on, give them a leeway, give them a 6-inch, but then where do you stop? Where's that line that you draw? Like, okay, he was a foot. This guy was 6 inches. But I feel like it took away from a lot. I was scrolling through X and Twitter, whatever. And a lot of people, their only complaint was you're taking away from the racing by penalizing these guys when they showed a couple of them, and it was, you could barely see the other, their tire was in that much. And it's kind of like, wow, it took it. But I guess
Mike Joy on the broadcast was talking about how NASCAR uses this like AI or GPS, like
it just
super, like this was it. And when you're watching the race, it's all happening so fast, and they only show you, Fox only shows you 5 drivers at a time or whatever part of the race they want to zoom in on. So it's hard to say, but like from the naked eye, maybe there would never be penalties like that.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I feel like it should. I'm not saying take it away, but I'm saying maybe give it a little bit of more leeway, because it's just hard racing going around these turns. And you could tell which ones are going to be, if it's freaking deliberate, okay. But if it's like, come on,
if it's not obnoxious,
he was making that move. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough, and it takes away from. It's like flags in football, or it's fouls in the NBA. It's it's hard where if it's something so minor, the NBA has become something so hard to watch because of that. Any little, as everybody jokes, you breathe on LeBron and it's a foul. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Draymond looks at a guy and
it's a technical
ejection. It's but no, it's I don't know. That was something that I was thinking about, and when I was watching it, I wasn't too much of a fan of it. But it makes you as a driver, like they were talking about 2 weeks ago at Bristol. Driver influenced that race. I guess that's the same thing. If you hurt yourself, it's only on you. You're the one driving the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
game of inches, Joe.
Game of inches, literally.
Back to Byron before we get into Christopher Bell, because I think Christopher Bell was an entertaining part of this COTA. But I want to give Byron his flowers. For him to get the pole and dominate the race, Joey. I
Yeah,
can't say enough good things. I can't say enough good things about him and the driver. He's a problem.
He is a problem, and the only thing, and it's not even taking any flowers away from him. It's the only other person I've been impressed with this year is Alex Bowman, and I mean that's only because we joke about him here and there, but Byron, besides Bowman, Byron is just. It's hard to say. It's what did we say when we talked 2 weeks ago, and we said, is it Bell's year? And now it's Jesus, like. And we had that bet. When would we place that? A couple weeks ago too, I believe, when we talked about that.
About the
one driver getting 3 wins.
Yeah, more than 3.
More than 3 wins with how competitive everything is. And I said it's probably going to be Byron or Larson, and he's at 2 now. But dude, he was unreal. He was driving that car like, and you see that 24 car, and everybody's just like, that's the 24 car right there,
Yeah.
So, but Bowman.
Big ups to Byron. Bowman's having a great year. He's competitive again.
I have to talk about him. I mean, I do. I was reading something, and it was like a picture of him that obviously was a photo shoot from something before, and he's like winking or something, and they said this guy is your best average finisher this year for Hendrick, better than Byron, better than Larson, and that's unreal. I mean, that to do that at Hendrick, we talk about him, being the 4th guy, but I mean. I think Chase has become the 4th guy in it.
Oh, no, really, Joey, don't say it.
And it eats at me. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see. I think,
all right, really quick, Christopher Bell made some enemies, Joe. And I think going back to what we talked about in the last stage, him going on the reverse pit strategy meant that he would have to drive through the field.
Exactly.
At some point.
And it was exciting. And even the broadcast said, this is fun because eventually he's going to have to pit and he's going to drive we're going to have to see him drive his car or his ass off through the field, which was fun. But yeah,
and
go ahead. I want you to.
So he dumps Larson.
Yep.
Larson didn't have a great line into the corner, but anytime you put your car into somebody's left rear bumper and spin them out, not a good look.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
And I think Larson, Larson's not a confrontational guy. Just go back to the Bubba thing from before. He drives aggressively, but he's not an aggressive person.
Not at all.
And I don't think Christopher Bell's an aggressive person either.
Not at all.
But he drives very aggressively. And then he dumps Kyle Busch, KB.
The wrong guy.
He dumps the wrong guy. And I did a little bit of research into it, Joe.
No, sorry. It was the same almost thing where Kyle took a weird. And then
took a wide turn.
And he tried to cut the corner quick. So it was, but yeah, go ahead. It was,
and I guess they have history in a good way because Bell came up and got a shot on one of Kyle Busch's his lower level teams. I don't know if it was the Truck Series. I'd have to double check that, but they have history.
Kyle Busch Racing. I believe.
Yeah, they have history because Kyle Busch gave Christopher Bell a shot.
Yeah.
So fast forward to the end of the race, Kyle Busch gets out of his car and just beelines for Christopher Bell. And the cameras are there. Recorded. And Christopher Bell, God bless him, he stayed. He didn't flinch. He sat. He was just leaned up against his car. And Kyle Busch, not a small guy, right in his face.
He looked scared.
You can't. He did look a little spooked. But you can't hear the beginning of the conversation. But what you could make out of it is Kyle Busch goes, "That's the second time you've wrecked me. Yeah. Have I ever wrecked you?" And Christopher Bell says, "No." And Kyle Busch says, "It's effing coming.
It's coming, baby." And I'm like, and his eyes just like the little puppy eyes, man. It was just like, oh, like you just like the dog your new puppy just peed in the corner and looked at you, and you just know it. Like, and it's just like the wrong guy.
Joey, that's the old school that I'm worried about is going to be gone from NASCAR in a few years. But yeah. They say elephants have the longest memories. Race car drivers have long memories.
Oh man!
And Kyle Busch, you just wonder when he's going to pay him back. Is he going to pay him back this week, or is he going to wait?
No,
until
if they both make the playoffs, he's on his last years. He's gonna use it when he needs it. He's not. I mean, it could be say they both make it to the Final Four. I pray and hope Christopher Bell.
Oh, you better watch it. Yeah,
because you're not winning. I'll tell you that. So
listen to Harvick's podcast, just a little bit of it. And he said, yeah, happy hour. And they asked him, they said, what do you make of this situation? And he goes, I don't think what Bell did was that bad, but Kyle and his team are having a rough year. And so when you're going to get a top 10, or even if you look at where Kyle Busch was, I think he was in the top 5 or top 6 when he got dumped.
Yeah, it was up there.
He was up there. And Kyle Busch is going, I'm going to get 5, I'm going to get 5 points, or I'm going to get, 5, 6 points, and I'm going to have a good finish today. And if we get a caution late, maybe I can get him on the restart, and then you get dumped.
Exactly.
And he's going, he's seeing red. So I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah. And he was just waiting for that checkered. He was waiting for the checkered the whole time. I bet you the whole as those last how many laps, he was just like, give me that hit road and steaming. So, and it's so funny because, I've not known Kyle Busch, but watched him for so long, and he was so, just a hothead. And it's crazy to see him mature so much. And then it just that little thing, and he's back to the old KB. And it's like, you're right. I mean, we're going to lose that stuff because there's not many left. You know what I mean? I hope that Gibbs can maybe keep it going because they need it. And I think
not a bad call. That's not a bad call.
I think Austin Hill, when the spot opens up for him, he's going to be kind of, I don't know if he's going to be maybe a crybaby type, Jeff Gordon whining and stuff, or is he going to take over some of this stuff? I don't know.
The hard part is, Joe, just off the top of my head, you have to have the clout to do something like that. You can't be a low level or a new guy racer because you're driving $1 million machine. Mm-hmm. And for you to just take your car and put it into somebody and wreck them and wreck yourself, mm-hmm. You better be good and you better have some clout because your owner is going to go, dude, you just cost me $500,000 because you're being an asshole.
And you cost money on the finish. You wrecked a race car and you pissed a lot of people off, sponsors, this or that. There's so much behind the scenes. So it makes, it's hard. And
it's hard to do that. It's hard to wreck somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Hocevar right now, if he wanted to do that, bud, you're not, there's nothing for you to do that right now. John Hunter, in Xfinity, sure. You were the top dog. That's
fine. Go wreck them. Yeah.
But nope. You got to wait your turn. You got to get the respect first. And Ty Gibbs has been really good at that the first 2 years. So we'll see. Once he starts winning these races, I think he's going to be, I hope he kind of keeps that. We need it. You have to have it.
Yep. Joey, COTA was fun. On to Richmond.
It was.
Stage 2 coming up next. Stage 2, Joe.
3.
Stage 2.
2.
Yeah. 3, Jeez, 2, 1.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
We'll get to our bets here in stage 3.
I'm excited.
Stage 2, Joe. On to Richmond. And whenever you think of Richmond, what driver do you think of first?
AKA D Hamlin.
I think a Denny. This is a Denny track.
Denny.
Long runs, short track. I mean, it's a 3/4 mile track. So Denny. It's not quite Bristol, and it's not as long as Phoenix, kind of like an in-betweener.
Yep. But
man, Richmond's had some quality finishes over the years, Joe.
They have. Oh, it's great racing. It really is great racing. I mean, we just talked about kind of in the intro how you rewatched some races, and I was just watching the 08, and it was just unreal looking back and seeing, Denny Hamlin started on the pole, Gordon started 43rd, and Hamlin led 381 laps.
Crazy.
And had a tire go down. And Gordon, watching Gordon go down or come back, win a lap down, gets the lucky dog, comes back and finishes 9th. It's just lots of long runs. And yeah, our boy Clint Boyer won that race, and it was it's when Boyer. Kyle Busch took out Little E, and Little E. I
was watching the clip of that. I saw it on Instagram, I think.
And Dale Earnhardt, the interviewer after the race, and Dale is a very cool, calm guy, and he was just fuming when he got out of the car. And the guy asks something about security for Kyle Busch, and he goes, "Oh, he's gonna need some security to get out of here tonight." And it's hilarious that You know, because I mean, when Little Lee took the lead, that crowd stood up. Everybody was just cheering. It was crazy. And then he gets just dumped by Kyle Busch. Kyle kind of got loose.
That's old school racing.
Yeah, he got kind of loose but yeah, great race. And Richmond's a good race. You know, it's not, like you said, not Bristol, and not a Phoenix or not a, you know, mile track, but it's entertaining. Lots of long runs. That's the best part, because, you know, and that's where they changed it. They added, you know, now we have stages.
Yeah.
Hamlin, all he had to do was keep running, pit, come out before the next guy. All right. Keep running.
Yep.
Pit before the next guy. Now, do you get those points? Like, you know, we were talking about, do you take those points for, you know, and you have to, it's strategy now. That's all it is strategy. And do you have the car to win the race? Then you pit. If you don't have the car to win the race, then you better take the stage points and get as many as you can. Because you're going to get beat by those guys that can win the race.
Yep, you're going to see a bunch of cars go for it and have short run speed and try to qualify up front, and then you're going to have, like, this is when Larson's strategy at Bristol. I don't think the tire fall off will be as bad. I mean, I couldn't imagine it could be as bad as Bristol, but you'll have like the Larsons of the world who will try to get a long run car because they want to compete with Denny, and they're going to hope for a long run in stage 3. And but the problem with that is you get a lot of cautions in stage 3 at this track. Cautions breed cautions. You're going to get a lot of restarts. You're going to get people running too wide into the corner, and they're going to be taking each other out. And it's a short track, so any contact, you're going to get yellows.
Exactly. Definitely. Yes, agreed.
The reason Larson won the spring race is because, and it was funny, Josh Berry was running Chase's car in the spring race last year.
Yep.
And Josh Berry was up front a bunch of the race.
I remember he stayed out. He hit the pit strategy, worked out, and he ended up second.
Yeah. And so him and Larson were on the restarts, and I was kind of thinking to myself, like, man, he's gonna let Larson go. And they raced tough. Larson got a bunch of yellows late and navigated his way to the front and ended up winning the spring race, which was big. That was a big win for him. And then in the fall, which I watched back, I figured Denny was going to win that race. Just watching it, I was like, man, Denny's going to win this. And Keselowski, RFK. RFK had a great run. Or what is it? I'm thinking of RFK Jr., the presidential candidate. No, it's Roush Fenway Keselowski. Yeah.
Yes.
So RFK and Buescher gets the win. Yeah, I was thinking of RFK Jr. Buescher gets the win. And beats Denny straight up. Denny got loose coming into 3 or coming out of 3, and that was it. There was nothing left. And it'll be interesting because we were like throwing some odds around, which we'll get into in the next stage. But there's some value on the board this week. Definitely some value. There's no value for some, but there's definitely some value on. And it's hard. It's hard to look at a board now and just think of that Vegas guy that's just at every track, that the insider that he just knows, he knows something. And because it's, you see the value of that, and it's like, well, why is it like that? We still got to find out who that guy is, Joe. Exactly. So, but no, I'm looking forward to it. Definitely. Richmond, always exciting, Joe. Should be entertaining, and on Easter. So once you get back from church, come home. Happy Good Friday. You too. Barbecue going to be on this week, Joe, or no? It may. You gonna get back on the horse? It may be on. It might rain. Are we looking at no rain? I forgot to look at Saturday. No rain. And I looked at the track. No rain. All right, so no rain, baby. We're on a good rain streak here though in California. Knock on wood. So yeah, we're getting some rain in California. It's going to rain tomorrow, but I think Sunday, just for Easter, I think it'll be dry. Nice, perfect. Yeah, I'm hoping for no rain tomorrow at the A's game. So, hey, I'll be on the barbecue. No, I think I'm going to have Scotty and another buddy or whatever. They might be on the barbecues tomorrow. Tailgate. Yeah, defer to Scotty. Yeah, exactly. So smart. Joe, you got any winners in you? I think. Do I have one and you have one this year? Yeah, I think we're 1-1. 1-1.
All right, let's get one right now.
Stage 3 coming up next. Stage 3, time for our picks for the owners for the Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond. Odds courtesy of USA Today.
Yes, sir.
And the Toyota Owners seem to think that the Toyota cars, Joe, are going to be good this week.
Top four odds or
top 4 are Gibbs car, all Gibbs cars. So Denny 4 and change, Bell 4 and change to 1, Truex 6 to 1, Ty Gibbs 8.5 to 1, and followed by Larson, Byron, Busher, Keselowski, Reddick, Blaney, Busch, Chase down at 17 to 1. Joe, how you feel about that? No, not touching that one.
Don't even talk.
Before we get into our picks, Ryan Preece, who finished fifth
last year,
fifth there in the fall. He is a good short track racer. He's 100 to 1. I will definitely be sprinkling Ryan Preece, Joe.
Yeah,
that's
crazy. Yeah, and there's
our buddy Ty Dillon down there at 500 to 1. He'll be good for at least 2 wrecks today, Joe, or on Sunday.
For Sunday. I mean, come on. He gets signed for 5 races or 4 races or whatever it is. You know, I wanted to mention that and I forgot. It's just ridiculous. And, you know, I feel for the guy. That sucks. But
hey, God bless him for feeding his family. But he is a wrecking machine.
He's a wrecking machine. And I don't even, oh my God, I can't
him
wait
and
to
Harrison Burton wrecks a lot too.
If he doesn't, if Ty Dillon, we need something on that. We need, like, if Ty Dillon doesn't crash.
Oh, the odds on that would probably be, I'd say, it's for sure minus 400 that he wrecks.
Yes. I mean, and I hope if people are whoever listens to this, just turn on the race. And if he wrecks, just think of this. I wish I hate that. Why are we, I don't want to be like that, but it just happens to be, it must be a Dylan thing. Dylan crashed. He ran 3 laps the first 3. No, I'm kidding.
That's good.
All right. So
you won the last time. You won 2 races ago. Last pod we did an abbreviated pod, so we just picked one driver. And
is that where that's when you were on assignment?
I think we just keep it. We'll keep it one driver this week.
Okay.
And we don't want to make it too easy on ourselves.
Exactly. And I like, obviously, and it's not that it's hard when we do these. Are we trying to pick who's going to win the race? Or are we looking for value? You know what I mean? And it's easy to, I think I've taken the favorite once or twice, and I think I won on a Hamlin, but Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell, there's no value. So if you're looking at betting, it's, it's hard in that aspect. And I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs because, we obviously did a little thing on him today. And 8.5 to 1 is good value, and the guy's coming. I don't know if he gets it done, but I'm kind of going for value here. If we're just going off of what we've seen the last 5 races, obviously we'd pick Hamlin or Bell. That's just the smart thing. But Ty Gibbs, you go for value, and a guy that, he's only going to get better every single race. So let's see what happens. I
think Ty Gibbs is a good pick, Joe.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to avoid Kyle Larson this week, even though I think he's got a shot to win. If he brings a long run car, he's got a shot to win.
And good value.
9 to 1. I don't think it'll be that. Well, we'll see what qualifying does. But I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr., who won here. When did he win here, Joe? I pulled it up. Truex won here in 2021 in the old car.
So 3 years ago. Yeah.
And he hasn't won here since. But this would be, this would really be like if Harvick was still racing, this would be a Harvick track, where he would just be grinding it out. But I'm going to go Truex Jr. 6 to 1. I think, if he can get up front, this is a Truex Hamlin type track where they just keep cutting off good laps, and they bury their competition. So we'll stick with. We're both going Toyota this week.
We are. It's not a bad play with how it's been. So Ford's got to figure it out.
Yep. Joey, anything else before we call it a day? Looking forward to Richmond, Easter Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. sit back and enjoy Easter and watch this race. Usually they're off on, it's either Easter, no, it might Mother's Day, Father's Day. It's one of those this year. So
yeah,
it's good that we're getting a race, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good wreck, and I'm hoping for a little bit of drama. We need it.
Yeah, keep it coming.
All right. Well, please drink responsibly.
Joey, good to be back in the US of A. God bless America.
Yes,
Thanks for listening.